After $1 billion hailstorm hits an area, your focus should be on running your business, not on insurance claims. We have helped streamline the insurance process for hundreds of roofing contractors across the U.S., and we can do it for yours too. Visit us online at c3adjusters.com and learn how we can help you save time and get claims paid faster.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday here at the Hail Palace, 12 p.m. hail forecast sponsored by C3 Group. Got a bit to talk about today. Chance for some hail across Minnesota and in South Dakota. Jump right into that in just a second. Make sure you guys have that apps downloaded onto your phone, iPad, or whatever other tablet device you may have. Go ahead and you can check out that video when you press that lightning bolt in app. You can watch it while you continue doing work, or of course you can click on it and bring it full screen if you want to pay a little bit closer attention to what's going on in the video. And make sure notifications are set up as well, especially when areas that haven't been hit very much this year might have a shot at getting some storms. It's always helpful to have that on there. Go on your desktop computer, on your HailTrace account, notification options, notification settings, and you can set it up for 1, 2, or 3 different ways you can get notifications, whether it's through the app, most popular way, email, or desktop computer, and you can customize it to maybe just a certain city metro like Minneapolis, the whole state of Minnesota maybe, multiple states, Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, or the entire country, including Canada and Australia. And with that, we got a forecast for today. Yesterday, we had some storms across South Dakota. Kind of was a little bit of a bust for quite a few areas, but there is another chance for storms again today across Minnesota. The big question for Minnesota specifically is whether or not we're going to see big hail, or if we're going to see a line of storms, possibly a more intense line of storms called derecho. Derecho is a little more rare. At the very least, just a line of storms with strong winds, or we're going to see big hail. With that, I got that 15% chance for Minneapolis, up to maybe some 2-inch hail possible there. 5% for Sioux Falls. I think storms are going to form just to the east of Sioux Falls, and they're going to move generally towards Minneapolis. So Minneapolis, you're going to have a 100% chance of seeing storms today. The big question, is it going to be hail or is it going to be wind? Unfortunately, I think they're going to, my opinion right now, they're going to be forming just far enough to the west where it might congeal into a wind-producing line by the time they get to Minneapolis. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Got that 15% chance there. I'm not going to go any higher than that right now. Things haven't been saying isolated storms. If they'd stay isolated by the time they got to Minneapolis, I'd probably up the risk a little bit. Much bigger hail is possible across South Dakota today, from Rapid City to Pierre. Got that 10%. 2 smaller cities, but they are at risk. Any storms, these will be isolated supercells. Only 1 or 2 likely to be happening across central and western South Dakota, but those storms will pack a punch, kind of up to some 3-inch, maybe even larger than that hail. I think there was up to 4-inch hail last night in some part of near the Pierre area last night. I could see that happening again this evening, probably after about 5 o'clock or so. So, up to 3-inch hail possible there. Can't go over 10% when, well, let's face it, Pierre is not really that large, so it's like hitting a needle in a very unpopulated haystack. And there is also a chance you get a couple storms, maybe continuing with some quarter-size hail into Wisconsin and Michigan, but that's mostly from the line that's going to form and roar through the Minneapolis area. You could get those occasional quarter reports trickling in. So with that, I'm going to go Rapid City here for our local hail forecast between about 3 and 6 p.m. for Rapid City itself. I think storms are going to form pretty much right on top of you guys, kind of how they typically happen, up to 3-inch hail possible. And, okay, we got chance of hail. I'll answer that question in just a second, Kyle. 10% chance of hail, and the equivalent chance for seeing a 3-star map or better. If they get hit, they'll likely get pretty large hail. Think what happened at the end of last week. We had up to some golf ball, the 2-inch, I think, size hail in Rapid City. Storm formed right on top of them. Pretty much same basic idea for today, just a higher hail potential. For Minneapolis, between about 5 and 8 p.m., we have up to 2-inch hail. If we can keep storms stay a little bit isolated, we get tail end Charlie, so the very end of the line of storms, we could see some hail. If that moves to the Minneapolis metro, then yeah, we could see some pretty big hail today. Give that 15% chance, only because we're not entirely sure where the tail end Charlie is going to be or how isolated the storm's going to be when they move into the metro, and that gives about 10% chance of 3-star or better. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple quarter reports, but that's not going to get you a 3-star map in the Minneapolis area. And this is what we're talking about here is the models. I'll move right out of the way. See storms, a lot of storms, numerous storms. So Minneapolis is right in this section here. If you guys don't know like the county shapes, see storms form to the east of Sioux Falls. They're isolated for a time, for the first couple hours that they're formed. They'll be isolated. That's where most of the hail is going to happen, and then they're going to kind of turn into a line. The biggest question, of course, is going to be how isolated are they going to be when they get to the Minneapolis area. If they can stay even just a tiny bit separated, we could have a much better chance of seeing some hail. A couple clusters of storms, you can get a much better chance of seeing big hail versus just a big old angry line of storms. So we'll be watching this very carefully, of course, and if anything does occur, we will be here to do live continuing coverage as always, and also can't forget about South Dakota with those angrier isolated supercells that'll be moving across the state over the course of the evening. Personally, I'd like to see something like this signature for Minneapolis to up those chances, but unfortunately, it'll be a little messier for that area today. Looking ahead at tomorrow, things shift to the south and to the east, where Chicago is at risk, kind of. I think there might be more of a wind threat for Chicago. I think the majority of the hail is going to be in Iowa and possibly down towards Kansas City. It's going to be initial development. You're going to have hail right away, and I think it's going to turn into a pretty angry line of storms. It's actually a cold front that's going to be moving through the Great Lakes region and portions of the Midwest through tomorrow evening. So up to golf ball size hail possible with those initial development of storms for your Tuesday. That's from Kansas City up through about, I'd say, Rockford, Illinois. And then you could see some maybe isolated patches of quarter, $half size hail into Michigan and possibly the Chicago area. We'll be watching that carefully as well. Here is what I'm showing on future radar. You see some isolated storms, then obviously a pretty angry line of storms forms as the evening wears on, and that's going to really minimize your hail threat, be much more of a wind risk for your Tuesday. But things can change. Might get a little more, if the cold front moves a little less quickly, we could happen to see some more isolated storms form tomorrow. So we'll be watching that all very carefully, and we'll be having updates tomorrow as we do every single day. I see Ron got a little excited with Kansas City at risk there. Going to that 5-day forecast. Before we get into the 5-day, I think somebody asked about what area state typically gets the most hail. Typically, statistically, the most hail falls in the state of Texas. It is the largest state that gets hail on the regular, so they just have the best chance. A lot of hail happens in a very large state, but I think in terms of population density, typically it's Kansas, or I think it's hail reports per square mile. I think it's Kansas gets the most hail, followed by Texas, but I think this year it might end up being Colorado, honestly. They're getting pounded this year, so they might supersede the regular lineup in terms of big hail. Anyway, C3 Group sponsoring this 5-day forecast. That 10% chance for a 3-star map or better today could go up. We'll be watching it through the afternoon. We'll do posts on our Facebook if things start looking a lot better for Minneapolis. Up to 3-inch hail for your max hail size. That's going to be across South Dakota. High population with Minneapolis involved. Tomorrow, high population again with Chicago involved, up to golf ball size hail. Wednesday, population is going to be high. It's going to be in the Great Lakes, but pretty low chances. That cold front's going to continue moving to the south and to the east. However, there's not going to be as much instability and forcing to work with. There's not going to be as much upper level support. We don't have the jet streams in play today and tomorrow. Wednesday, not so much. It's only about $half size hail. And then Thursday, I think it's going to be pretty quiet. Looks like we're going to be a little break between different impulses. So not going to be any hail expected on Thursday. And on Friday, the next system kind of looks like it's moving in. There's a chance for some hail in South Dakota. And then into your Labor Day weekend, we might actually see some storms in the Great Lakes region. As of right now, anyway, things have been changing seemingly every single day. So as of right now, it looks like the following weekend, your holiday weekend, we might be watching some storms near the Great Lakes region. So with that, this is our area concern for Wednesday. It does extend from about Tulsa all the way up towards Detroit, but it's going to be few and far between on those storms, and that hail potential, it's capped only at about $half size hail. It's going to be pretty low-end risk for your Wednesday. Absolutely no risk on your Thursday. And then Friday, things move back up into eastern South Dakota and over by to the west of Minneapolis. That's all I got for you guys today. Follow us on Facebook. We'll be doing any updates. If anything starts to look a little more interesting for Minnesota, we'll obviously do any sort of live coverage if any big storms happen across the Minneapolis area. Hit see first so you don't miss any of our posts. They pop right at the top of your newsfeed, superseding all of the Facebook algorithms. And give us a call, email us, or visit our website at hailtrace.com for more details. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, message us on intercom, call us, or email us. We'll get back to you as fast as we can. Hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody, and check out C3 Group as our sponsor. We have a link to their page in the description below. Have a great Monday, and we'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. for our daily hail forecast. But do those hail dances, cross those fingers. Maybe we'll be back later for live coverage for storms ongoing. If not, have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you later.